I thought I'd do a little diversion from politics now, and talk about the homunculus fallacy, which is one of my favourite concepts. It was referenced by Noam Chomsky, and I had an opportunity to meet him, and ended up doing television instead. And I slightly resent that diversion. Chomsky talks about the rules that we make for ourselves, and effectively that is the homunculus fallacy. There's this little thing inside us, which is a sort of mini me, which is dictating what we do. And of course, once you admit to the mini me that is dictating my actions, then there's another mini me inside that mini me, and so on, and you then have infinite regression, and it becomes an absurdity. But we think of ourselves, when I think of I'm thinking of a mini me inside my brain. It wasn't a Disney film about that. I didn't really like it, but that is the Disney film, and we're not a Disney film. We're real life. Tolkien didn't really like Disney, and he didn't like Disney because he didn't like the simplicity of Disney. And when you oversimplify something, when you oversimplify a fairy tale, or when you oversimplify an idea, you ridicule it in the end. There's a value to simplicity, but there's a limit to how far you can go. And the homunculus fallacy. I remember there was that great scene in the Golden Voyage of Sinbad with Tom Baker. I think it was one of his best films. I remember him also doing the captain in Frankenstein. And Tom Baker, before he became Doctor Who, I think, and I can't remember whether he was in the same, whether it was, I think it was the following Sinbad film, which was Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, where Patrick Troughton. So clearly Ray Harryhausen was mining the Doctor Who's there, but in this case, I think he had prescience, and Doctor Who. Tom Baker became Doctor Who after that. But at one point, Tom Baker was this evil magician, and he brought to life a homunculus, which was a little winged, bat-like humanoid creature that floated around and could see what he saw. And the homunculus was definitely part of that Kabbalistic pack of magic, the opposite of the golem. The golem is this large being that can be brought to life, that will defend the community, and the homunculus is the little being that can spy and can see things, and that is a sort of mini-me. Anyway, if you take the homunculus fallacy far enough, then you end up with that is the source of the imposter complex, isn't it? It's the homunculus fallacy, the idea that I've got inside me, that the little me inside has got illusions of grandeur, that we can never live up to what the little homunculus imagines I am like. I'm this great being of with huge potential, whereas in fact I am really just a sort of just an entertainer. I'm not an academic. I'm an entertainer, and recognizing the difference between the aspirations of the mini me, that go beyond ambition, that go beyond possibility, into nonsense, and then also that same mini me, or maybe the little mini me inside that, we're going into the homunculus fallacy and the infinite regression, doubts that the mini me really has the potential to achieve what it wants to achieve. And I think all those doubts live in us. Those doubts are part of the wonder of the thing. I remember, I think Kenneth Williams was talking about something like this once, and he was saying that there was an actor who was criticised during rehearsals, and the director was saying, "I don't like your walk, I don't like your voice," and the actor would say, "Yes, it's a beautiful voice. Yes, it's a beautiful walk," and that's one way of maintaining some sort of poise and some sort of focus to deny that. But I think a good director is always going to wait and find the good things that will catapult a nervous performer into excellence, because we all have that potential. And the same thing is true about a teacher. Every so often I feel I've got to say, look, this is not right, this is not good. And I do that with such caution, because I think I don't want to destroy my students. I want to bring them up. But at the same time, if they've got this, if they've had this training where they're just looking for the points, for the exam success, and they're not looking at, they're not taking care to look at the overall scheme, and they just want, they just want the mini me massaged. Sometimes you have to take a sledgehammer to that and say, look, it's just wrong. It's just wrong, because you're actually very good, and you're trying to score these silly little points. Look at the horizon. Look beyond this little clump of bushes, and look at the trees, and look at the real thing, because you're capable of doing that. And stop point scoring, because there's a bigger prize. And if you can get somebody to think of the bigger prize, if you can get something to look, a genuine ambition, rather than the little mini-me fantasies, which we all have, which we have to have, then that mini-me can be set on a path where he or she can ignite, can inspire, can actually develop your progress, can actually inform and enrich your path towards success. But you need help. And the company of me and my mini-me, and the various regressions back to the mini-me, I'm afraid that's the echo chamber, which is not so dissimilar to some forms of YouTube, and that needs to be challenged. So yes, I think look for the positives, and if you're not getting enough positives, pile them on yourself. But otherwise, try to find an ambition which is beyond you. And the homunculus fallacy, I'm afraid nobody is controlling your brain. There is no mini-me. It's just an illusion, but it is a convenient way of thinking of identity.